Atheist Nomads, episode 219, The Signs of the Times.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin, and joining me is Gary.
Hi, everyone.
Lauren is not feeling well and baking brownies or cookies or something. But yeah, she's not feeling well, so she's not joining us. That's also why we're late. We had a couple of people lined up that didn't work out, and then people that did work out, and then Gary's here.
And then we're late tonight because we had a couple extra beers while chatting. So
it was wonderful and needed and awesome and delicious.
Agreed.
Ah, damn. Yeah, so we are beered up already.
Sorry, everyone.
Not sorry. Shows tend to be better with more alcohol. Work the next day, not so sure, but
I'm solid there.
Yeah.
The show I'm not so experienced at, but work, yeah I can do that.
All right, so one thing I need to say now while it is in front of me in the notes, I was going to last time and I forgot, and I know this guy is probably mad at me for this, but back in July, a episode of The Right to Reason came out with Wesley and I on it that had been recorded back in May, and we talked about liberals versus conservatives and punching Nazis and all of that. If you're interested, go check it out. The Right to Reason. He also has interviewed interesting people, done arguments and debates with interesting people, including Boise's own Matt Slick. So, yeah. And I also do kind of want to address a little bit about some of the drama going on right now in the atheist community, because there seems to be a lot right now. There is the SSA, Secular Student Alliance. They had decided that they were going to, a few months back, decided they were moving their headquarters to Los Angeles from Columbus, Ohio, and they were going to be getting new staff in Los Angeles with a new focus for the organization. And then they laid off their staff in Columbus.
Yikes. This is all new to me. I've not heard.
I have not been able to find any really good information. Apparently some of the people who were laid off, that I have this information second or third hand, felt like it was handled poorly. But yeah, they fired all of their Columbus, Ohio staff and hired brand new staff in LA.
LA cannot be cheaper to run things than Columbus, Ohio, I have to imagine.
They found people in LA, which that kind of helps explain why they wouldn't try to relocate people, because the difference in pay you would have to do to have that not effectively be a massive pay cut would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so they just, fired them all.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what kind of reason they might come up with for that, but on the outside, it doesn't sound all that great.
Yeah. And they also deleted comments on their Facebook page for anybody who was questioning what they did.
Yeah, also not a great thing.
Yeah. Then there's Foundation Beyond Belief, which they actually just sent me an email about this. And we partnered for a year with Foundation Beyond Belief, helping promote them. Ran a little ad for them, had Dale McGowan on.
I recall that, yeah.
And that was, way back in like 2013. We've had Rebecca Vitzman on, who was, and unfortunately now is past tense, the person who set up their disaster relief program. And they have laid her off. They've also laid off two other people who had also had part-time jobs so that they could hire one full-time person local to them to run all three programs.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that, just kind of, back channel chatter stuff. I don't really keep up that much with the wider secular movement, because there's always drama of some kind. There's purity people and like kind of tests regarding how pure they are, and so I don't follow, but I remember hearing about that, and I was not thrilled about that concept, because the people who seem to like institute those initial three programs were so well suited, it seemed. And I couldn't really imagine Well, I thought they were all full-time employees, like, because they seem to be so perfect for...
None of them were. If anything, they were part-time employees. And even that was probably a stretch.
Yeah, I think you're probably right in retrospect.
So that's, with these, they're HR decisions. And I think it's important to realize that any organization, when they make HR decisions, are not going to provide all of the information. And most of the people directly affected by them are not going to be speaking about them much, which means the only people talking about it are those who got half of one half of the story and are spreading it.
Yeah, especially in this situation in the secular community, because everyone's very approachable. They seem like they're kind of superstars to us who follow the podcasts and read the blogs and watch the news, but they're all very approachable. Mm-hmm. And they're real people to a lot of us. Like, you can have constant chatter with, like, Facebook conversations with several people that are pretty, what we consider kind of high up and kind of celebrities almost in the secular community. And for somebody like that to just, lose their job, even though it's part-time, kind of a hit. So You've got fans, you've got a lot of interpersonal communication. They know a lot of people and vice versa. Yeah, so it seems it's almost a personal decision to the community, not just a business decision or a what's best for the actual organization, because we don't really know necessarily. Mm-hmm. I hope we don't all know. We might have an opinion on it. We might have a guess, but we don't know.
And even if we did know the full picture of the business decisions, I've been in business. I've been a manager. I've been through mergers and acquisitions. I'm in the middle of one right now. Every business decision, there's a personal element. That is always the case.
You're dealing with people. Yeah, it's going to be personal.
You're always dealing with people. There is always stuff being taken into account that officially isn't being taken into account. And I would be surprised if in both of these cases, they didn't look at it as, to meet this business objective, we need to have people here locally. And there was probably also a little bit of, well, those are the old people or people somebody else hired, and I think I could find myself a better team.
Yeah, that's indeed the case a lot of times, yeah.
I don't know for sure if any of that's it, but there's always extra stuff like that, and I think it's worth it as part of the community to give these organizations the benefit of the doubt. They are organizations, and organizations will always do things that someone will find shitty, especially when dealing with HR issues. HR issues are always messy, and they are always dirty.
Yeah, and they affect somebody that inevitably somebody's going to care about. And I've given money to both organizations at one point or another, and I'm not a shareholder. I don't get any say in what they do. I'll just have to wait and see if they made the right decision. Mm-hmm. If they're still an effective organization, I'll still support them.
Yeah. And then there was the Mythinformation Conference. Sharon Frankel from the Habeas Humor podcast apparently took a lot of video from the big debate/interview with Thomas Smith, debating/interviewing Sargon of Akkad and a couple of other right-wing atheist YouTube blowhards. And apparently they said terrible, horrible things, and Thomas gave them a lot of shit for it. This conference, from everything I've seen, was terrible and horrible and should not have happened.
The entire conference?
Yeah. It just sounds like they had the idea of, let's get some variety of opinion, which means let's get some good, decent people, and let's get the worst, terrible people with a following we can find.
Yeah, if you want controversy, you go find controversial people. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean there's any kind of quality there. You're gonna have to suffer.
Yeah. Anyway, not all conferences are created equal, and if you went to that and enjoyed yourself, then try a better conference. And if you went to that and you didn't, try a better conference.
Do you know the locale of that conference? Where in the country? Milwaukee. Isn't that where they do the PastaCon? Oh, that's Wisconsin.
No, PastaCon is Missouri.
Is that damn? Okay, I was thinking it's more north.
Nope. So anyway, that's enough on stuff going on in the atheist community. We are going to now move into dusting off the degree. It's the signs of the times. We've got bickering and fighting and contention in the atheist community. I will dub this Elevator Gate 3.
That big.
I probably shouldn't have even used that term, but yeah. It seems to be happening again, and it keeps happening, and it seems to be about annual, if not more. We've got wars and rumors of wars. So, like wars in the Middle East and wars in Africa, numerous parts of Africa, because Africa is a huge continent with a bunch of impoverished countries that are still suffering from the terrible things that happened to them during the imperial age.
Yeah, France, U.S., Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah, we plundered.
Belgium.
Sure. Belgium too, yeah, you're right.
The rape of the Congo.
Yeah.
King Leopold's private property with a entire nation of his personal slaves. After the days of slavery being cool. Yeah, terrible things. We've got wars in South America, Colombia and Venezuela, not necessarily fighting with each other directly, but proxy wars with each other. The decent chance of that becoming a bit more direct. We've got rumor of upcoming war with North Korea. We've got
Catalonia too with their fight for I guess I'm not sure what you would call that.
Their independence referendum.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it would be true independence. Yeah.
And there was the independence referendum in Iraqi Kurdistan.
Yeah.
We've got, as far as I know, the Ukrainian civil war is not resolved.
No, it's still ongoing as far as I'm aware.
Russian meddling in the world is still going on,
and apparently everywhere. Like there's not a modern nation that hasn't been touched by their hands in some way.
Yeah. And it seems like every week we are inching closer and closer to nuclear war with North Korea.
Because I believe Egypt, we just captured a boat full of weapons from North Korea, right?
Well, that was actually in July.
Oh, I thought that was more recent.
It just now reached the news.
Oh, fun.
Because stuff like that, long-term investigations, it takes a while for it to actually get leaked.
Could be a good thing, I guess.
And so we've got the Great Pumpkin egging on Rocket Man, and before we know it, they're going to have a pissing contest with nuclear weapons, and
everyone gets wet.
We all lose.
Yeah, there's no good way. Like the power in that situation, they're going to be more embarrassed, and that's the U.S. in this case.
Yep.
You don't pick on and bully a smaller country, so much smaller and completely enabled to defend themselves in the global stage. They may have some kind of nuclear weapons. We have no idea exactly what they've got. We know they've
possibly a hydrogen bomb.
Yeah, maybe that might be as high as they go, and that's just judging by the seismic activity there. Not even they can't seem to get a warhead exactly where it needs to go yet. So we're gonna have egg on our face no matter what.
Yeah.
There's no way we can win that.
It reminds me of the case from a few months back, or not a few months, a year and a half, 2 years ago. We were at a park, and little kids thought Rocco was so cute and needed to hold him. So a 6-year-old was holding him. That was okay. She was doing fine. And another 6-year-old is right there, and that was fine. He was starting to get a little nervous, and we didn't yet know that if you corner a Chihuahua, it's gonna hurt
someone.
And it was a 2-year-old who went face first right into Rocco. Everybody felt bad.
Yeah, no way to win there. The Chihuahua was not wrong.
Everyone lost.
The kids were fairly innocent too.
The kids were innocent. The parents should have been watching closer. Lauren and I should have been watching closer and putting more limits on their children's access to our dog. They should have been watching closer what their children were doing. And we learned that kids picking up Rocco is not good. And cornering Rocco, he is a tiny little animal with no choice.
He's going to do what animals do.
Yeah. We're doing that to North Korea.
Yeah, because they've got very few choices. They're still looking to us and a few other countries for food.
Uh-huh.
And last I heard, we were actually doing a bit better job at giving them food without them ramping up their repercussions. That was under the Obama, the end of the Obama administration. But now we're calling them out blindly on every single action. And even when there is no action, we're still calling them out as far as a nation because of our president. And they're going to respond. They've got to respond. If they don't respond, they're going to stop getting support from within and without. So what are they going to do?
Yeah. They're not likely to hit Seoul because there's a decent chance the wind would blow the fallout back to them.
Yeah, and I just don't think that's a course that they would take necessarily.
And they also wouldn't want to hit... They view Seoul as being part of their country.
Yeah.
They're not going to hit their own country.
Right.
I could definitely imagine them hitting Tokyo.
Yeah, I think even Guam would be
Tokyo would be very tragic. Japan being the only country to lose 3 cities to nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
to lose any, that'd be terrible.
I didn't even thought about that. That's even worse.
Decent chance of that. There's relatively decent chances they go for Guam because that's where B2s and B1s are based.
Right. The people count would be, the death count would be a little low, and it would be American soil, so that would be a benefit to them, I'm sure.
And if they can do it, I think they'll hit Seattle.
Boy, I hope not. But I don't see them having, they might be able to get a rocket that far. I do not think they can get a detonatable rocket that far.
The big benefit there is with the mountains right there and the sea breeze constantly blowing in.
Suck it right back out.
Even if you miss, you still hit. And you hit anywhere around there. You're hitting a population or military target. You could be 50 miles on course and you're still hitting a decent target.
Yeah.
It seems to me to be the single most logical target if they have the capability.
Yeah, honestly, the smartest move for them would be to fire a warning shot near Guam, an actual detonated rocket in the water near Guam. Because that way they don't get attacked necessarily. They might not get attacked. They probably will.
Oh, and if they can do it,
if they have the capability, that's the thing. Is
sink a rocket with a dummy warhead off the coast of Oregon.
Boy, that'd make some waves for sure. Yeah.
If they could land one 20 miles off the coast of Florence, Oregon.
Well, so
okay,
we've got
200 miles to make sure they're outside of, in clearly, definitely, completely international waters. Go 200 miles off. Yeah.
Well, we've got some complications on that one too. So, one, if they try for something severe like that and they miss, huge fail for them. Like they've got nothing else to bring to the table. If they actually attempt that for real, and we have to use one of our fairly modern, fairly secret weapons to shoot that out of the air, which we've got, we as a public don't know how accurate that might be.
Yeah.
That's exposed for everyone.
Yep.
Not really a good win for us.
It escalates if they shoot a missile at the mainland U.S. and we shoot that missile out of the air. That ends up escalating the situation.
Yeah, that's retaliation territory. Because at that point, we could say it was going anywhere. They could say it was going somewhere, and it wouldn't matter.
And then they go for Tokyo.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got all that.
Good times.
Crazy, terrible, horrible. It's bad enough that LA is doing duck and cover drills. And it's not duck and cover anymore. It's lay flat on the ground, close your eyes and wait, and keep waiting, and then keep waiting. And then, if possible, take off your clothes and take a shower.
Wow, so they're not expecting to see a flash or anything. They're hoping that...
Lay the fuck on the ground, face down, hands under your body, so you don't burn them. Let your clothes absorb the radiation.
Wow.
Get your clothes off and take a shower. That's the training they're doing right now in LA because LA is concerned that North Korea could hit them.
I mean, it sounds smart, but man, is that dark.
Yeah. We got that. We've got earthquakes. Mexico getting hit with earthquakes.
Yeah.
Chile always gets hit with earthquakes. There's earthquakes somewhere on the other side of the ring of fire, I'm sure, because there always is. We've got volcanoes in Mexico, in I just blanked on the name of that South Pacific country.
I'm not sure who.
Tuvalu.
The Tuvaluan volcano?
Active volcano in Tuvalu. We've got volcano in Java.
Oh, okay, yeah. I knew about
so
that one,
in
yeah.
Tuvalu, they are actively evacuating an entire island. In Java, they are evacuating people away from the pyroclastic flow zones.
I could have sworn you were going to say Pirates of the Caribbean.
We've had 3 simultaneous major hurricanes in the Atlantic Basin, and now have the potential of 2 hurricanes joining up and hitting Europe as a super duper insanely massive extratropical cyclone.
Yeah, yay global warming.
We had the solar eclipse.
Oh yeah, that was quite an adventure too.
Every year gets a lunar eclipse. So we've got wars and rumors of wars. We've got earthquakes. We've got other natural disasters. It feels like the foundations of the earth themselves are being shaken. The sun's been darkened, and the moon, at some point, is always getting darkened. Heck, it happens every month. The moon goes dark.
It's true. What was it that Jimmy Kimmel said last night after the shooting? That seems like the portal to hell has been opened.
Yeah.
And we're just dealing with the consequences kind of thing.
And what's amazing, like the single most amazing thing here is, other than a couple of loons, nobody has looked at this and said, oh, this is proof. The end is here. The end is here. At least I haven't seen much of that.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 people that are on my radar try to declare the end of the world.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased.
Yeah, because those are all way more severe than most of the things that I grew up with. That people always said that is the end would be near because of.
It almost makes me wonder if these are people who have actually read Mark 13, where Jesus talks about the signs of the times. When he says there will be wars and rumors of wars, there will be earthquakes, things are going to get super duper shitty.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
And that's just normal life. That's not the end of the world. That's Mark chapter 13. If you are a Christian believing biblical prophecy about the end of the world, all of the signs of the times are signs of normal times.
It's funny how that works.
There are some abnormal elements right now. The volcanoes, coincidence.
Yeah, we don't tend to have a ton of them, but there's usually like 1 or 2 active or semi-active volcanoes going.
We're on the Ring of Fire here around the Pacific Rim. There's dozens of active volcanoes at all times.
Yeah. But do like 1 or 2 that are kind of newsworthy, like this will affect some people. Like keep an eye on it.
It's been quite a while since we've had a super volcano.
Quite a while, yeah.
1800s, year without a winter.
Right.
Or excuse me, year without a summer.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Earthquakes. The ones we've seen in Mexico recently and other parts of the world, those are tiny compared to the 1960s with the Alaska and Guatemala City earthquakes.
Yeah, those were pretty terrifying.
Like, we're talking magnitude 9 earthquakes. In Guatemala City, I think it was hundreds of thousands killed. Yeah,
and in Mexico City, even they're still a little bit behind on their building codes. So there's like their infrastructure is, improving, but not super fast. That would have been such a massive devastation.
Yeah. So we've got a couple things at play here with all of it. Wars and rumors of wars. Shitty assholes kill people and break things. It happens. That is an unfortunate part of the human condition. Earthquakes naturally happen. It sucks. Engineering can help us with that, not by stopping the earthquakes, but by making it easier for us to survive them.
Though it can actually create them too, due to fracking, appears.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. These other natural disasters, the volcanoes, those just happen. We're lucky we haven't had a super volcano in recent times because those really suck. If you want famine, just try a year without a summer. Yeah, that's a civilization ender right there. If you want the end of civilization, try a decade without summer. Yeah. Winter is coming, as they or is here. Well, it's not here, but Game of Thrones style. Yeah. And all of that is that's just normal. It happens. It sucks. We are these tiny, insignificant little creatures who have modified the world around us to be comfortable and nice for us. And we don't realize how close we are to getting burned up or drowned at all times. And how close, how we're on such a tiny little sliver of cool rock on top of molten magma, and have this tiny little magnetic field protecting us from cosmic radiation.
Yeah, what was I believe the stat was if the Earth were the size of an apple, or vice versa, the skin of an apple would be thicker than the surface of the Earth.
Yeah.
That's saying something. That's a pretty quick, easy indicator of how quick things can go.
Less than 1% closer to the center of the Earth, and you're in fiery death. Less than 1% further out, you're in highly radioactive death. And
3/4 of the planet, you're in watery death.
Yep.
And about half an hour from any city, you're in bear death.
Or fire death.
Yeah, there's plenty of that too.
Yep. Yeah. The West keeps burning up every year. Seems like more and more of the West burns every year. And that's just going to keep getting worse. So leave town and you die. Stay in town. Well, if people start starving, you're going to die. But despite all that, life keeps getting better. Statistically, everything gets better. So I'm amazed that we haven't gotten more the end is near.
Yeah, I kind of am too, honestly.
But I'm glad.
I guess that means that the majority of people are not buying that as a cause to join religions. Maybe the fear-mongering is kind of more of a thing in the past. So it seemed to work really well with the baby boomers. They seem to have a particular affinity to, I mean, there's a certain, I guess a narcissism to thinking the end is near, because that means that you are the last that will ever be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the baby boomers seem to really follow suit with the concept that the end is near a lot. I mean, baby boomers lived through the Cuban Missile Crisis. They saw some shit. Where the end was quite literally pretty close to being near, but the concept on the whole is such that, okay, the end will probably never truly be all that near. It's as near as it ever has been or ever will be.
Now, one of the crazy things is, I keep hearing in the back of my head, some Adventist pastor, I don't remember which one, talking about how in the end days, when things start getting bad, those who have fallen away from the church will come back. It's like, this isn't actually bad.
And also it kind of shows if you show people evidence for things, they might actually believe. Not because of faith, but because of evidence.
But when your evidence is normal everyday stuff like earthquakes and volcanoes, not normal everyday in terms of a single human lifetime,
just humanity,
but in terms of humanity, these are all everyday things.
Yeah, like there was a point at which we were afraid of the sun, and I mean now we know that cancer can happen, so we're kind of back to those, but might be a bad example.
All right, it's time for a break. Atheist Nomads is proudly brought to you by Archway Hosting. Check out their low-price, full-featured hosting solutions at archwayhosting.com. That's ARCHWAY hosting.com. We're also brought to you by listeners just like you. You can find out more at patreon.com/atheistnomads. That's patreon.com/atheistnomads. Yeah, Gary brought all this good beer, and I'm talking too much and not drinking enough. I mean, seriously, where are my priorities, listeners? Where are they?
You know, we are so close to Brewers Haven, like you can modify your priorities. It's fine.
All right, so first off, let's talk about Puerto Rico. Yeah, we're gonna go from dark, deep, depressing to 3 million American citizens without power.
And a U.S. president who's determined to not give them any.
Yeah, he has mocked the mayor of San Juan, capital and largest city of Puerto Rico. He finally went and visited and started throwing paper towels at people. Excuse me, 2 people.
Right.
These aren't T-shirts at a hockey game.
No, he doesn't have a cannon for paper towels. He just tossing paper towels.
I have a hard time grasping what they were thinking, what his handlers were thinking when they decided, yes, let's give them paper towels. Did they think there was flooding there? They need to dry stuff up. Or with all the floodwaters and the lack of power, it's probably dirty. They need to be able to clean.
It might have been a bounty ad, like in the making, that we just weren't aware of. Some kind of super absorbent commercial. We'll find out in 6 months.
Yeah. Just seriously. And one of the things that sucks is there are supplies there. They can't get them out of the port.
Yeah.
What they need is trucks to clear out the roads and trucks to haul shit.
Or more helicopters to bring stuff in from the ships to the mainland.
Yeah, that would work as well.
You know, last I heard there was 10 that we've supplied. I don't know if that's correct now, but 10 is not enough, of course.
They need engineers. They need polemen. They need people who can get up there and fix things, restore the power grid, can fix the infrastructure, who can help get them closer to normalcy.
And as far as I'm aware, that person has been Elon Musk, who did donate a ton of the power packs, the ones that are supposed to power houses. He has been donating them, and the number is pretty high. I forget exactly how many, but like a surprising high amount by my standards that he's been donating to the cause, uncalled for. I don't believe he held a press conference to do so. They just did it.
Yep.
And I've got to applaud everything that Tesla does every day.
And that's far better than our dear leader, President Trump, has done. Because
just go to a tweet storm, basically.
Mocking the mayor is a dick move when the mayor was just asking for help.
As the mayor should be doing. Like that's exactly the mayor's job.
Yep. His saying that he's doing a great job managing this, and that we're doing a great job handling this disaster. No. He's saying so much better than Katrina. Well, fewer people have died, we think.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know because you can't get anywhere.
Yeah, there's no way to count the bodies. There's no way to communicate with people for people to assume how their families are doing. It's kind of the worst case scenario for any kind of a modern society when a crisis occurs.
And if you try to compare it to Katrina, it is a terrible comparison if you're talking about body count, because Katrina was a city underwater. It was a city built below sea level when levees broke and the storm surge flooded the city. So a city became a lake. City becomes a lake, thousands of people die. The raw body count is not what made Katrina, the government response to Katrina, Bush's greatest failing. It was the response after it.
Yeah, one of the few times I agree with Kanye West. Bush probably does hate black people. The response was terrible. FEMA was mishandled completely at that time. I don't even know who is running FEMA right now because I don't know any of the cabinet members. They've been changing weekly.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well like we as a nation are doing. I just know that Trump is tweeting stuff and what his PR people are sending out, and that's not good enough. That's terrible for a U.S. territory or for any territory that we have immediate access to help.
Well, and with territories, it's even worse than that. Puerto Rico is in financial ruin directly because of U.S. Federal government policy. Their economic boom was created by U.S. government federal policy, and their economic collapse was created by the expiration of that policy. You can map it out exactly.
That's insane.
Puerto Rico's well-being and its status as a territory makes it a dependent of the United States of America. And when your dependent is suffering and you don't take care of your dependent, you're a bad parent and you need to be taken out back and beat.
And I do believe that was the initial criticisms of the British Empire from the U.S. before the taxation issues. It was a lack of caring when things went bad.
Yeah. Fuck. Okay, let's talk about something as frustrating. Las Vegas.
Yeah, maybe more frustrating.
So a 60-some-year-old man got up on the 32nd floor of a Las Vegas hotel on the Strip and had 10 high-capacity assault rifles and started firing bullets at the crowd down below at an open-air concert, leaving close to 60 people, or by this time, possibly 60 people, dead and well over 500 wounded.
And it appears to be premeditated. There is no reason to think it wasn't, given his choice of logistics and every action that he committed. We know so little about the actual act or the reason behind it, which is what we always look for. When in reality, there is no reason. There's no reason to go shoot people. There's no reason for any of this. There is not a cause.
Well, one of the craziest I've heard is, oh no, it wasn't terrorism. Islamic State wasn't involved. No. If you create terror in people and the easiest and most effective way to create terror is to attack people where they go.
Yeah, on top of that, I do believe that if there's a political motivation for the terror, otherwise it's just kind of it's almost carnage.
Yeah,
the terror is like secondary, which might be this guy's entire purpose. I don't know, but it did not sound like he actually was affiliated or had a cause.
And the lack of identifiable cause is particularly strange with this, because if it is a case of terror, there's always a manifesto left behind explaining why they did it. Because he killed himself before the cops showed up. So he knew it was a suicide operation. He was going to kill as many people as he could and then end with himself. And that was going to be his final act. And we keep searching for why did this happen? And we keep missing the point of why was this able to happen?
Agreed. The reason it happened is because it could happen. And that's all the reason you really need to concern yourself with. Whether it be mental health, whether it be some kind of a religious manifesto, that it's possible. That's it. Yeah. That's all you need.
When you've got high capacity military style assault rifles and a bunch of them, you can rain down a lot of bullets in a very short period of time, which is what he did.
And for everyone out there that believes that more weapons are the answer, I would like to know how the fuck you get a responsive gunman on the 32nd floor of a goddamn hotel to take this guy out.
Most of the members of the band that were playing were armed.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
and couldn't do a goddamn thing.
Nor could anyone. Like there is only one recourse, and that is the police force.
And the police couldn't do anything either. He'd already killed himself by the time they got there.
Yeah, I think they were just busting in the room, if I'm not mistaken, when he offed himself.
No, he was. By the time they got there, he was already dead.
Oh, was he already
dead? So no, nobody did anything in that situation. Okay, helping people who had been shot and wounded, yes, lots of people helped with that. But as far as stopping the carnage, everyone was powerless because a civilian had access to high-capacity, high-powered, automatic and semi-automatic weapons.
And he, for some crazy fucking reason, had the desire to do it. And that is really all it takes. The semi and fully auto weapons, that was the easiest part of the equation, I'm going to assume.
Oh, yeah.
The desire for whatever the fuck it might have been, that probably took some doing. It could have been, some kind of a serious issue in his life, or a tumor, as was the UT shooter. But whatever that was, the fact that he was capable of doing this in our society is all that we really need to fixate ourselves with.
Yeah, because if all he'd had was hunting rifles, maybe 10 people,
10 people
wounded. maybe 2 or 3 dead. It's what we keep talking about, and I believe this terminology came from Sam Mulvey. It's the lethality. The goal of gun control is harm reduction. You reduce the lethality by reducing access to more lethal weapons. And anybody who says, no, we need to have guns to be able to protect ourselves against the government. Bullshit.
Absolute bullshit.
That hasn't been possible since the invention of the machine gun.
And I'm rather torn on any kind of actual logical answer to this, because it's an emotional issue. This is purely emotional on both sides. One is the emotion of, I am not enough of a human being to feel safe around other human beings. I must have this thing. The other is, if you have this thing, you could destroy other human beings. Why the fuck do you have this thing?
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 issues that I see.
Right.
There is a very logical explanation for the Second Amendment. There's a very logical explanation against it, but those don't really go anywhere. The emotions go everywhere. They drive the issue, and that's been a problem. Like,
oh yeah,
I understand anyone who wants to actually protect their Second Amendment rights to a degree. I think that many people who want to protect their families from home invaders, I think you're living out a fucking fantasy.
Oh yeah,
I think this is a junior high fantasy, pure and simple, and you really need to get over yourself.
If you look at the statistics, if you have a gun in your home, I actually still have one. I haven't sold it yet. If you look at the statistics, you are more likely to kill a family member with it,
or yourself,
than a bad guy entering. And if it is used in a situation involving a bad guy, statistically speaking, it is more likely to be used by the bad guy against you.
Because bad people don't come into your house to kill you. They're not assassins. Right. They need shit. Like, if you have assassins coming after you, then you fucked up well beyond owning a firearm.
And, okay, if it's breaking and entering, they're looking at worst case scenario, minor felony.
Right. And if they bring a weapon out, and if they possibly kill you, that is a serious situation that they are smart enough, I promise you.
Yeah.
No matter who they are or how dumb they might seem on the outset, they know better. They know exactly what will happen to them. And this is a case, most home invasions do not have weapons. Most are done during the day for that very reason, because no one's home. No one actually wants another human being to be in contact with them while they're doing a burglary.
Right. So what Trump's thoughts on it was, look, we had a tragedy. What happened is in many ways a miracle. The police department has done an incredible job. And we'll be talking about gun laws as time goes by. And then he waved his hand dismissively. Yes, we had a tragedy. I don't know what world more than 50 people dead and more than 500 wounded at a concert is a miracle. Tragedy works a lot better than miracle. And the police department actually didn't do an incredible job because he killed himself first. Yeah, they showed up pretty quickly, as far as I understand, compared to many other issues where police are involved. They were not great at dispersing the crowd, from what I've read so far. And again, this is so fucking early, like we don't really have much data, but I've seen the video of people on the ground, which is heartbreaking. It's terrifying to watch. You can't disperse a crowd when people everywhere are getting shot and bullets are raining down on you.
You can't.
The police did not do an incredible job because they couldn't.
It was not set up for...
There is no way they could have.
Yeah, the venue was not set up to be shot down upon, apparently. But no, it's true. The police can only do so much, given what's there. The first responders, I understand, actually did a pretty damn good job. The police not knowing what the fuck was going on, and almost how could they? Right. We, in hindsight, we've seen, I've seen 3 different videos, whether they be live on Facebook or after the fact, that kind of give you a pretty good idea that everyone in the crowd knew what was going on. But police responding, how could they know that somebody was going to climb up to the 32nd floor of a damn hotel, a casino hotel, and start shooting innocent people in a concert? At a country concert, no less. Mm-hmm. which is even more odd.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to a little bit closer to our normal reasons for getting mad at shit. The U.S. is one of just 13 countries who has just voted against a UN resolution condemning the death penalty for having gay sex. Yes, the U.S. voted against a Human Rights Council resolution condemning the, quote, imposition of the death penalty as a sanction for the specific forms of conduct such as apostasy, blasphemy, adultery, and consensual same-sex relations. It also called for not executing people with mental or intellectual disabilities, people below 18 years of age at the time of the commission of the crime, and pregnant women.
Thanks to Texas, I'm going to say that the mental abilities was probably the impetus for that.
It also expressed that there is concern that the death penalty for adultery is disproportionately imposed on women. And the U.S. voted against it.
As we do, apparently.
We joined... Botswana, Burundi, Egypt, Ethiopia, Bangladesh, China, India, Iraq, Japan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates.
Japan was in on that?
Japan!
Because they don't have a death penalty there, if I'm not mistaken.
Not much of one if they do. I think they might. If they do, it's one of those ceremonial ones like Britain has.
Yeah, like still in the books, but no one will ever enforce anything. Yeah, that one's kind of surprising. The rest of the countries, not so much.
But yeah, Japan.
Yeah, I'm more disappointed in Japan than I am in the U.S. at this point. I know what we're about. We're complete horse shit. But Japan, I kind of actually hold you to a higher standard.
Yeah, and this was introduced by Belgium, Benin, Costa Rica, France, Mexico, Moldova, Mongolia, and Switzerland. Yes, Benin, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Mongolia.
The nomadic people of Mongolia have a better sense of community than we do. I just want that to be known. They're nomadic.
It was also supported by many countries around the world, including the Congo and Kyrgyzstan.
Congo supported that?
Congo.
Yeah, now I'm completely shocked. Like that, I kind of want to hear the full elements of the deal. I kind of assume that we must be missing some element, but
I'm starting to not be so surprised by Mexico being better than us on stuff.
Yeah, same.
Definitely not surprised by that on Costa Rica, Mongolia, Benin, Congo.
But hey, we're on the side of Saudi Arabia, so
this is one. Honestly, this one is one of the first times where I'm actually embarrassed to be an American.
I was kind of with Michelle Obama now a while back, but this one definitely it just kind of reinforces the message. When it comes to everyone else or anything decent, we will fail at it.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of wondering if maybe it's time to work on Duolingo. Jamaica has a prime minister who is a Seventh-day Adventist. And of course, we should all expect that a Jamaican Adventist prime minister would be probably pretty awesome, considering the fact that in Jamaica, twice as many people claim to be Adventists than the Adventist Church claims as members. That is not a common thing to find by any religious group anywhere in the world. There they do, because kids that go to the Adventist Church get educations and become rich and famous doctors. So, of course, they, are more likely to claim that, because parents sometimes will just drop their kids off at the Adventist Church on Saturdays and then go down to the bar or get high and hope their kids get a better life. So, what's his plan for the world to fix the issues in Jamaica? It's a partnership with the church to fight crime.
In Jamaica?
In Jamaica. There's a couple rough neighborhoods that he wants to fix by sending people in, presumably mostly from the Adventist Church, to convert criminals so that they stop being criminals.
That should work.
Religious conversion as a solution to crime.
It's done wonders for the gay community.
Oh, man. Yeah, the article I saw on this was actually posted by, oh man, what's his current title? He is now one of the ombudsman and the assistant to the president for diversity at Walla Walla University, a Seventh-day Adventist institution of higher education in the Northwest. They're in Walla Walla, Washington. Well, actually, College Place, Washington. Who grew up in Jamaica. His name is Pedrito Maynard Reed. When they were trying to set up a gay-straight alliance on campus a couple of years ago, I actually reached out to him since I was one of his students as a theology major, and was like, any chance you would back these kids who are trying to get this group going? And he's like, no, I can't do that. It goes against the mission of the church. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, it sucks. Because he's now like Mr. Manager of the church, it sounds like.
No, he's the one who's supposed to be backing people that, yeah.
That's just an Arrested Development.
Oh,
joke.
Yeah. And moving on.
Actually, assistant to the assistant is more Dwight Schrute, really.
Well, he wasn't the assistant to the assistant. He was just the assistant to the president.
Yeah, I know. It sounds very, very unofficial and kind of like a placard more than an actual position.
In Michigan, oh man, Rachel Pland had a baby at home. The midwife came and checked on the baby and found that blood was coming out of her nose and she was having trouble breathing and definitely had jaundice and needed to be taken to the hospital or at least to a doctor. And Rachel and her husband Joshua decided, nope, God doesn't make mistakes. So they didn't take their baby to the hospital or to a doctor. And after 4 days, she was dead.
Which state was this?
Michigan.
I don't believe that Michigan has I do believe they have an exemption for religious.
Oh no, they are both facing.
I was thinking Michigan and Pennsylvania both have exemptions, but I could be wrong about that.
Oh, that's on the age of consent. Because they both have the largest Amish populations.
Yeah, they would.
No, they're both facing felony charges. Involuntary manslaughter, facing up to 15 years. Yeah, they do not have religious exemptions.
At least the state has that going for them.
They are part of the Faith Tech Ministries group.
Is that the same one in Pennsylvania?
The one that I've seen that we've talked about on the show, no, that'd be a different one. Is it a different one?
Because I was thinking that was so in Pennsylvania there is a religious group that actually tries to pray cure everyone, and it's not illegal in Pennsylvania as of yet. I was thinking that was one of the states that was the center, just like we're kind of now the center for the.
So we get there's weird different ones all over the place, and this one is apparently a specific one in that part of Michigan where nobody knew before this was a faith healing group. Nobody's even necessarily sure that it's a faith healing group because this is the first instance from members of that church with a kid dying needlessly. And what's crazy is the midwife came and said, you need to take the baby to the doctor. Mom said no. Her mom was there and said, we need to call an ambulance. And mom said no.
Wow.
Now, I would say if you're a grandma and your grandchild is dying and the mom says no, you would be well within your rights to go ahead and say, fuck you, I'm not going to let this baby die if we can avoid it. But she didn't do that. And then the mother's brother was in California, heard about it, and called the police. And by the time they showed up, there were the Pillans and 3 other people praying over the dead body, praying for a resurrection, because God makes no mistakes.
That's just so fucked up. Like the how asinine that is. We don't even really have a scale. At least the people who try to, pray for whatever ailment the kid's got, at least the kid is still alive. To pray for a fucking resurrection, that seems like a whole nother level of insanity to me.
The the whole thing is complete insanity.
It is.
From the start.
There's nothing normal or good about that at all. It just seems like a dead person at that point is dead. And you have to know, or instinctively, as a human, understand that that's a bad thing.
Well, heck, I even think in 2017, doing a home birth is stupid.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's just
there.
straight up stupid. Because we as a species evolved to the point where the brain and pelvis size, you can't do it the normal way. It requires some kind of assistance. And babies are born basically still as fetuses, and are for quite a while. There's a reason why most animals can walk within minutes, hours, or days of birth, and humans are lucky to be able to by the first year.
Right. Yeah, we've got about a 7-8 year gestation before we're a viable creature.
I'd even go 2, but yeah, we basically have, for big-brained creatures like we are, we basically have the primate, or not primate, the marsupial version of handling it with a not fully developed offspring coming out into the world. And we're smart enough, because of those big brains, to handle it. Unless you're infected by batshit crazy religion.
Which apparently these people very much are. And you know, what's worse is, I know that that is not exactly the center of culture in America, but it's far enough east that I assume people are a little bit smarter, or are surrounded by a bit more intellectual curiosity. I know in the West it's not a big deal, but the further east you go, the tendency increases. And I assume that they're close to that, but they apparently are not.
Michigan, you've got Detroit.
Michigan is like the Idaho of the Midwest.
There's Detroit. There's farms.
There's lots of white supremacists and guns.
There's a lot of Muslims and a lot of black people and a lot of Amish people. There's enough groups with a lot of people that it shouldn't be not everybody killing each other, but there's enough open spaces that
it's kind of rural enough.
Care.
Yeah,
you know, the black people have Detroit, and the Muslims have Deerfield, and
Amish have most of the rest of it.
Amish have kind of south central Michigan, and all of the non-Amish white people have the entire rest of the state.
Yeah, the white supremacists tend to be up toward Lake Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's on the west.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to jump in and say that, I disagree with the whole flat statement that home births are not good. There's plenty of evidence to say that they are perfectly safe for the average person, as long as you have access to an ER or ambulance. That's what the midwife is there for. They've usually have hospital privileges, but there's no way I would be caught doing a home birth.
Right.
But
are there any necessary qualifications to be a midwife? Like, is there? Is there a certificate system?
RN plus additional certification.
They're regulated.
Is it statewide depending on which state?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the state determines who becomes a midwife and who does not.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, you'll always get that spectrum of woo midwives and like legit, scientifically accurate midwives.
And you get the full spectrum within the ones that are certified and licensed by the state.
Yeah, but they are there.
Yes.
They do know their stuff, and they are regulated.
And yes, I did. In 2017, it's ridiculous to do home births if you aren't willing to go to the ER if necessary, or to send your baby to the ER if necessary. Is that better?
That's better.
Way better, yeah. That's
yes.
Good. Lauren out.
Because, as it turns out, one of the greatest risk factors on a delivery is the C-section, if you do a C-section. So a atheist teenager is now suing her high school because she's claiming that they flunked her due to her views on religion, and that has screwed up her getting into college.
From what I've seen of this so far, her claims seem legitimate. Like she's got an actual argument.
I'm here. I might as well just stay. She's got a 4.1 GPA. which is possible with AP classes.
Not in my school.
Well, in my school it was, yeah. Public education, decent public education.
My school, I got my lowest grades in my AP class. They hurt my GPA.
That's because a C, I think, in an AP class is the same as an A in a normal class. If you get a B, it's considered a B is considered an A.
Now in my school,
and if you get an A, you do get extra credit.
In my school, a B in an AP class was a B.
No, yeah, that's not how it's supposed to work. That's silly. But no, she was a star student, but she did argue with her teachers a lot. Argue with just about everybody at the school, apparently. She was quite the firecracker.
It sounds like she might have had cause, but she could just have been argumentative. I couldn't say, we've got only so much data on this story, but she's got some cause in this one case, so she might have had cause in the others.
Yeah, and it also opens it up for other people to discuss it if a high schooler out there feels like that they're being picked on because of it. This gives them a soapbox to kind of like fall back on, say, hey, this has been happening. This happened to this school district, and they got sued. So give me my letter of recommendation, damn it.
A really good cause for the new California-based SSA.
There we go. If that is their focus.
All right. Well, we will hopefully see more on this one as it progresses. I have a suspicion this one will be dismissed for lack of standing because she graduated. Which the kind of safe move on her part, truly. Graduating or no.
waiting till after she graduated before.
Right, but courts have a tendency, it seems, with school cases to decide that if you graduated, you don't have standing because you're not a student there anymore.
It's true. And
that is stupid.
And if she had started the lawsuit back in last January and it took this long to get to the courts, even if she hadn't graduated yet, she's graduated now, therefore does not have standing.
Yeah. Because it usually takes 2 years to get to a trial court in the federal system.
On a personal note, I'm just glad she graduated. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that was her goal.
And I hope that she gets out of that podunk town and leads a great life.
Yeah. All right. Saudi Arabia has finally decided to allow women to drive. This has been ruled by royal decree at the pressure of the Crown Prince. Raif Badawi had been calling for this years ago, and he's still getting public lashes for it and is still sitting in Saudi prison because of it. But they are making progress. Starting next summer, women with the permission of their male guardian will be allowed to go and get licensed to drive.
I saw a photo on Reddit just this morning of a Saudi man sitting in the passenger side of his car while his wife was learning how to drive for the first time ever, which was sad, but good to see at the same time. Like, I'll take progress.
What's funny is that the day of this announcement, Ford released an ad targeted to Muslim women driving, and it was genius.
It was
like,
brilliant.
You can tell that they've been sitting on this for years.
The McDonald's ads I saw in Jordan. Oh man, I never wanted McDonald's more than that because
they had no pork products, I assume.
Everything looked fresh and like it looked like you just picked perfectly ripe tomatoes and chopped them up.
Well, that's advertising for you.
And also outside of the U.S., that tends to happen.
It was, everybody was happy. There was families in it. They were happy. They were enjoying fresh food. Looking. As I recall, it was almost like if they'd taken it any further, you would have had, families eating baby lettuce wraps or something. But they didn't go quite that far. It looked delicious and amazing. But so with these rules, women will only be allowed to drive with their male guardian, so husband or father or brother or son, depending on the age of the woman, and will only be able to drive if it is not dark.
After dark, they're still
not allowed. The thought is if you are driving alone. If you don't have a man with you and you're out at night, then who's going to protect you?
You're asking for it.
And why drive if there's a man in the car?
Well, honestly, who's going to protect you? The Jaguar anti-jacking devices, which include the flamethrower some spikes. They're pretty goddamn impressive. And the Jaguar is not exactly unknown in Saudi Arabia, so I think she's going to be just fine.
Oh, man. Well, and when you're in that repressive of a country with religious police watching for something going wrong, with the penalty being death for looking at somebody the wrong way, the odds that anything's going to actually happen, because as it turns out, not every man is a rapist, and not every woman ends up being a victim.
But it happens often enough there that everyone should kind of have some fear, because the charges are never real, right? Like when a woman gets charged with adultery, it's because she let some other guy look at her leg, and then she gets stoned to death. It's not an actual real charge of adultery where there's good evidence,
right? Or she gets executed for adultery because somebody raped her against her will.
That happens way fucking too often.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. I mean, you say not all men are rapists, but you have a culture that raises young men to believe that rape is their right and they are going to get away with it. So, yeah.
And considering everything else that happens there, I think we do give the men a pass a lot of times, because there are some decent upstanding men that come out of that system, and that system's fucking horrid. Like in the U.S., we raise rapists. In the Saudi Arabia, like that's the default.
Yeah.
Like we don't even recognize the fact that it happens over there because it's the default. Over here, we're like, yeah, we have a bad enough culture that rapists just occur a lot. Over there, it's like everyone's a rapist except for the few that aren't.
Okay, so if everyone is a rapist, then is it reasonable to say that women can't drive at night?
No, I mean, if they feel secure enough, I'm totally okay with that.
A woman inside a car is far safer than a woman that's on the street.
The concern is the car will break down.
Okay, that does happen, and that happens here in the U.S., and women do get assaulted. But it's one of those things that in order to gain an ounce of freedom, you're gonna have to push it. So I see this as a baby step towards the culture recognizing that women are people, that they deserve to be treated as people, and then maybe the tides will turn in the next generation where the men aren't de facto rapists.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think it's a pretty big step, honestly.
So the next step will be women can drive at night if they have a cell phone, so they can call their husband or roadside assistance. And rapists on roadside assistance get immediately summarily executed by the nearest woman.
There we go.
Oh, here's the way to solve Saudi Arabia's problems.
Arm their women.
More guns. Give all the women guns. Yep.
Or just Jaguars with guns.
Yeah. The countermeasures.
Right. Yes.
Countermeasures.
The flamethrower countermeasure is a real thing on Jaguars, and it's pretty severe. Like, as far as I understand, that is something you don't mess with. The fact that it exists is kind of scary.
Okay.
It's
I thought we were talking about the cat.
Oh, no, the actual car. Yeah, the British car.
I got all wrapped up in this thought about Sex Panther. But
60% of the time, it works every time.
Now, also, I am fully in favor of gun control measures only applying to men, increase gun ownership and carrying by women, decrease the amount of men who have it, because the 60-some-year-old man who killed a whole bunch of people in Las Vegas has disproven my belief that the problem is men under 30. No, the problem is men.
Well, it could be men. I don't know if women actually want this responsibility. Like, I don't think women seem to have this desire to kill. Look at all the serial killers. Almost all white, almost all men.
Okay. So we go with the
we know of.
So we go with the standard of, to have guns, the only thing you have to pass is a testosterone test.
No.
That'd probably actually be a net benefit, to be honest. But there's not a great solution in there.
I like the Australian version where everybody can have guns. It's just you have to go to the special places to get any ammo.
Yeah, the Chris Rock solution. Yeah, guns are easily available. Ammo costs a fuck ton of money.
Australia doesn't go with just that. It's you have to go through a rigorous process to get able to have a gun.
Yeah,
so
the farmers have an exclusion for certain rifles that's not terrible.
Rural people are more likely to have...
Fuck those kangaroos.
But sidearms, like actual pistols, they take some, even in the Outback, they take some effort to get regulations
almost
for
impossible to get.
And I know lots of women who are gun fanatics.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. They
those
tend to not be serial killers. But
I only hear about gun deaths involving armed women when their toddlers shoot them.
Yeah, from taking them from the purse and such, which has been a huge thing lately.
That happened in Coeur d'Alene not too long ago.
Yeah, but the thing with mass murder is it's a power thing, and women don't seem to crave whatever the fuck that is that creates that power.
Testosterone.
I'm sure testosterone has a bit to do with it. I'm sure there's probably going to be one trans person who's on like a testosterone removal system or an estrogen injection system that's going to disprove that, but it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, exactly. You set the rules, and somebody will say challenge accepted.
Now there is a part of me who is hoping that the crazy false flag claims, which is insane when we've got a Republican president who is pro-gun rights and a Republican Congress that is pro-gun rights. So who's behind the false flag? But false flag and claims that, he was a left-wing extremist. A part of me kind of hopes that's true, because if we can do anything to make this not a partisan issue, if we could have a case, and I'm not advocating for this to happen, but if there were trans women going on rampages, and
it would change the standard, wouldn't it?
If it wasn't just Muslim men and white men on rampages, like cis men, if there was more diversity in mass shootings, I think we could move this away from being a partisan issue. And I'm not advocating for more mass shootings. I'm advocating for greater... I want it to all just fucking stop.
Yeah. If there is by chance another one, one could hope the diversity is included, because white cis men seem to get all the press.
And until it's not a white cis man or a Muslim man, because if it's a Muslim man, obviously it's Islamic terrorism.
Yeah.
It's not guns, it's the terrorism.
Right.
And if it's a white cis man, it's
Lone Wolf is the current
mental health issues.
Yeah.
Yep. He was crazy. Yep, just crazy. Crazy.
They don't do anything to help increase mental health access.
That guy took Ambien once. Yeah, I've heard, actually, just in the last day, I have heard the gamut of, like, completely batshit ridiculous responses, including the person who was against all medication, who said that every single serial killer that he listed, he missed several, was on some kind of an antipsychotic or antidepressant, as if those are the causes, as if the mental illness itself did not somehow attribute, and they were just happened to be current fixes. I brought up the water solution, that they all also fucking had water.
Yeah.
I saw that. That was good. They're all tainted with dihydrogen monoxide.
Yeah, the precious bodily fluids come. I don't know if you caught that, yeah.
Yep. Oh, man. Alrighty. Well, on that note,
stop shooting each other, everyone. For fuck's sakes.
And Gary, where can people find you?
Don't find me on Facebook. I hate that. But you can find most of what I do when I do it at idahoatheist.org or Facebook/idahoatheist.
Alrighty. And on meetup.org if you're here in Boise.
Yeah, we are on Meetup as well. Meetup/idahoatheist there as well. Yeah, if you just put an Idaho Atheist into the Googles, you're going to find us. I promise.
Okay. And on that note, Lauren, thank you for womaning up and joining us.
Testosteroning up.
No.
This is total ovaries of steel to make it out here.
And
I'm
Gary,
double womaning it up. I've got 4 ovaries over here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you do.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Can you believe that our unborn girl already has all of her eggs?
When I
for
leave,
future
you're gonna
grandchildren.
be outnumbered, Dustin. It's gonna be a slaughter.
That's terrifying. All that remains is to remind you that not all those who wander are lost.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Atheist Nomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.